So we're going to head back to Xenia now. We're at our halfway point. We come about 10.12 miles. And that's really what I wanted to do. So we'll head on back and enjoy the scenery the other way. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about this trail. I really like it. I've done the other one so many times leaving my house that I decided, you know what? I'm going to put my bike rack on my truck and we're going to drive up to Xenia and we're going to go head towards Cedarville. Because I knew it was really close to 10 miles one way, and that's really what I wanted to do, is 20 miles. I could have done 30 very easily, but must be noon, and it must be Monday, first Monday of the month, because there goes the tornado sirens testing. And that's usually at noon, first Monday of each month. Got all kind of geese out there on the lake. Guys probably can't see that, but had a really bad tornado come through here in 1974, category 5, that pretty much leveled Xenia, Ohio, and come all the way down through here. And they actually found some bank checks from a Xenia bank. And if I remember correctly, it was almost in Columbus, Ohio, where they found that check. So that's a good 40 miles. That's a story that I heard. I was actually up in Terre Haute, Indiana. I remember the day, April 3rd, 1974. And I was up in, again, Terre Haute, Indiana, which is almost in Illinois. But I lived in a mobile home at the time that we was renting, and we were just married a couple years, maybe. Actually, only a year. And I had a 68 GTO back then. It was a muscle car. It was convertible, really nice looking car. And I was out working on my car, and I was inside doing something in the car, and it felt like somebody had moved the car from side to side in the back of the car. So I looked out, didn't see anybody, so I went in the trailer and I asked my wife, I said, was you out there messing with the car? And she goes, no. But she said all the dishes in the cabinet just started rattling. We just had an earthquake. Now, mind you, that was the same day that the tornado came through southwest Ohio. Now, they say that earthquake at that time, and it was more of a tremor, it wasn't an earthquake, but that fault line went from there somewhere down into Tennessee, that they knew that the tremor had gone that far. And that was the same exact day that tornado come through here. Now, we're not exactly in tornado alley here, but we definitely have wrist spring throughout summer. We had one on Memorial Day 2 years ago that came through Dayton, and it missed my house probably about a mile and a half. And I remember that evening where late afternoon, early evening, it was dark, so it must have been closer to 8:30 or 9 o'clock. It was in Memorial Day, so it don't get dark till then. And I remember going outside after the tornado sirens were going off, and it was eerily quiet. I mean, I couldn't hear a pin drop outside. You know, they talk about the calm before the storm. Well, about 1.5 miles north of me, and I couldn't hear anything. I don't know why, but it might have been 2 miles. I don't know. But that's where that category 3 went through. So didn't miss my neighborhood by too much. We've had them go around us over the years, and I've been in my house since 1977, so that's our first and our last home. It's our starter and our finisher. We live in a little 3-bedroom house, 980 square feet maybe. And I built a patio enclosure on the back of it, and I got a 2.5 car garage in the shed. But we just decided as we got older, we just did not want stairs. We could have bought a much bigger house earlier on, and we decided to stay where we're at. We both grew up fairly poor, so that was something we really wanted to hold on to once we got our first house and raised 2 kids in it, and it's big enough. So we decided to stay where we're at, and I'm glad we did. I tried to get my wife to move probably 20, 25 years ago to something bigger, but she just didn't want to. She wanted to hang on to that house, and I was okay with that. Been married going on 51 years here in May. We just had her 70th, kind of a surprise birthday party at our house on January 29th. I had all my family with my son and his kids, and both of my sons actually were together, and a bunch of grandkids and friends of the family, and it was her 70th birthday, so I had my daughter-in-law and me go out to the mall, went out to JCPenney's, because I really wanted her to help me pick something out for her, jewelry-wise. Now, when we had our 50th back in May, we just went to dinner. We didn't have a big deal out of it. So I wanted to surprise her with a combination anniversary gift and a birthday necklace and a 50th anniversary ring. So my daughter-in-law helped me pick it out, and she was really surprised when I brought it out and gave it to her. She's not much one for gifts. My wife is very frugal, very simple, complete opposite of who I am. And as they always say, opposites always attract. So we had that back on the 29th, and that was on a Sunday, so after church everybody met. We had a lot of fun. We don't get out and go too many places. We don't like to vacation. We've been on cruises before and all that, but we both kind of like just being at home. Our front porch, I got a big front porch on the front of my house, and that's kind of our vacation spot. We just sit out there and watch the world go by. As I mentioned, I like to fish. We've got a local lake about 60 miles north of where I'm at here, and I rented a pontoon for a week, 1 week, a couple years ago, and had fun. Fished every day, just drove back and forth and fished off the pontoon. I actually owned a bass boat at one time. It was a older bass boat, but I was actually on the lake with my brother-in-law, and a big storm come up on the lake, and it's a fairly shallow lake anyway. And we were coming in off the lake, of course, because I could see the weather was really building. And we capsized that boat right in the middle of the lake, upside down. And the area that we were in was fairly shallow. I mean, I could walk on the bottom. We was in the middle of the lake, and the water was only up to my chest. So my brother-in-law's at that time, he's passed now, but he was shorter than I am. And I told him, I said, Larry, I said, you need to get up on the back of those fins on that motor. And so he did, and somebody come by in another boat and towed us in. That was an expensive weekend. Of course, we had to tow the boat in upside down. And then we got to the dock. I had to have a tow truck come by and pick that boat out of the water. And of course, we lost a lot of fishing gear, and my brother-in-law lost his glasses, and it wasn't a very good weekend for us. Terrible fishing that day too. So that's the only boat I've bought, and I sold it as soon as it all dried out. Motor started running again, everything was fine, and I sold the boat. They say there's two best days of owning a boat: the day you bought it and the day you sold it. And I believe that. There is just so much headaches owning a boat, unless you got people doing maintenance on it all the time. I know several people that own boats, but they're not for me. My wife likes to fish as well. I got a grandson loves to fish, and one son, but my other son, he said, if I want to go get fish, I'll go to Long John Silver's. I don't fish as much as I used to, but I remember when I was younger, my grandparents always took me fishing. We'd go up to Lake Erie quite a bit. Went to Florida with them on vacation and went fishing with them there. I never got over seasickness, I can tell you that. Going up to Lake Erie, I just sat off the side of the boat most of the time and puking my guts out. And it was the same way when I went in the Navy. What was I thinking, knowing I get seasick all the time? I said, well, it's a big ship. You're not going to get sick on a ship. It's even worse because you hit them 20 and 30-foot swells, and that ship's like a bobber in the water. You'll go down 20, 30 feet, you come up 20 and 30 feet. And at the time, I had just basically joined the Navy and stationed in Norfolk. And we played a lot of war games, especially down in Guantanamo Bay. So we went up and down the East Coast from Norfolk down to Cuba and, of course, Guantanamo Bay and Haiti. I've been to Haiti. And I remember a quick story. In Haiti, we were outside in the bay, docked, anchored, shall I say. And the Haitian government would call the ship and ask us if we would give them all of our scraps of food that we would basically dump in the bay after we ate. We would dump all this food right in the back of the bay off the fantail. And the United States would not give them that food at that time because they said it, for political reasons, they couldn't do that. Now that was back in 1969. But I remember these little bum boats, they called them. They're small little skiffs, you may say, come out from the coast where we were anchored, and they would bring these beautiful wooden forks, anything wood carvings that they handmade. And they would barter stuff like an old pair of gym shoes or something like that. But I'll tell you, that was really an eye-opener to see them people and the quality of that stuff that they could hand carve out of wood. It was just amazing. So for an old gym bag or a pair of old gym shoes, they would trade you. I mean, you know, they had no shoes, most of them. That's a very poor country even back then. And it's all not much different today from what I understand. So, I was in the Navy almost 3 years. And I come out in about 1972, I believe, somewhere around there. And I remember when we were down in Guantanamo Bay playing war games. And of course, that's right by Cuba. And I remember us pulling into Guantanamo Bay, and captain would come across the speaker on the ship and say, "See them fences down the outline up there, around that? You go past them fences, you won't come back." So we sit out there and played war games quite a bit, and I remember that there's this one plane was carrying this drone or whatever it was, like a target. It must have been 300 to 500 feet that this plane was carrying this target. And our gunner's mates were so bad, you could see the tracers going up and out of them guns on the ship. And they were kept getting closer and closer to that plane. And I remember the plane radioing back to the ship says, "They're done." I mean, that's how bad our gunner's mates were. But you know, we were all fairly new salts. We had just come out of boot camp, a lot of us, so I wasn't a gunner's mate. Almost got me a squirrel there. But that was my ship life, and I got my house under the GI Bill. That was nice. Or a VA loan, I'm sorry. I went to college for about a year under the GI Bill. Got paid for that. That was kind of nice. So being a ex-veteran, I just really hate to see, or shall I say a veteran, I really hate to see the way our vets are treated in this country. It's horrible. So anybody you know that's mentioned they've been in the service, thank them. I know a lot of people don't like what's going on in the country, but veterans need to be taken better care of. I haven't talked a whole lot about the bike, and we'll get into that a little bit. Once we get up here back to Xenia, I'll go ahead and take some videos of the bike and some of the stuff I bought for it. By far, this is the quietest motor that I have on an e-bike. You can't hear this thing. And I'm going along at 19, 20 mile an hour on this bike trail, and you can barely hear that motor. So as far as quietness, this is by far the quietest motor I got. Yeah, I got about another 4 miles to go, looks like. Yeah, the wind doesn't seem to be as bad at my face going this way, so it must have been coming out of the east. I don't feel it near as bad going back, heading south, or southwest, shall I say. I have not seen another biker. I just seen the one. We was headed up to Cedarville, and that's been it. I definitely see more people on the other trail that I ride. I don't know what this would be on the weekend. There might be quite a bit of more people out here. One good thing about this trail is when you cross these roads, it's mainly old country roads that there don't see much traffic on. But it's been a very enjoyable bike ride. I hope you guys have enjoyed the footage on it. Hope I didn't talk too much about my life, but sometimes you run out of things to talk about. So I know a lot of people like my conversation, but I don't definitely get too political, and I definitely don't get into religion. I am a Christian, and I'll leave it at that. Everybody's got their own choices. But this is truly what I like doing every day, is getting out and riding my e-bike. Summer, I mean, winter, it doesn't matter. I never really realized how much I would enjoy this until I started doing it after I retired. And people say, well, you're not burning any calories, you got an e-bike. Well, you're burning calories, you're still turning in pedals. I will burn about 800 to 1,000 calories on this little 20-mile ride. So yeah, you're gonna burn calories. I don't know if that almost looks like a little tiny house down there along the creek. I don't see no big homestead anywhere else around it, so might be a little summer spot for somebody. Yeah, I finally seen somebody walking the trail. We'll probably make this a 2-video segment. It's going to be a good 35-minute long video or so on each one. I've come about an hour now. Come about 18 miles. I'm sorry, 17 miles. Been a very enjoyable ride. I didn't realize how straight this trail was. You only got to zigzag a couple times once you come to them country roads, but it's pretty straight. No hills at all, flat. Of course, it's a rail trail, so it's going to be. But I've noticed they put in a lot of side areas coming up into the trail, get in these neighborhoods, and that's really nice. I think I'll be able to ride tomorrow. I think it's supposed to rain on Wednesday, I'm not sure. We'll see how weather works out. Yeah, got about another couple miles to go here, maybe a little less. This old silo up here looks like it might have been an old fire training silo or something over the years. I can't tell for sure. But it looks like they may have had some burn marks coming out of them openings. Yeah, about to come back in town here. About to back up to the truck. We'll cross back over here and get up into the parking lot where we started. Very enjoyable ride. Definitely will be doing this one again. We actually got about 18 miles in. Thought it was going to be closer to 20, but 18's good. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun. Alrighty, here we are. Back to the truck. I'll pull it up here a little bit and we'll go over a few things on the bike. Now, keep in mind, you can't buy this bike anymore because I think they quit making it. This is again called the Aerial Rider Rideal. It is a class 2 bike. It'll do 20 to 23 mile an hour, somewhere around there, which is pretty good. Things that come standard on this bike, of course, the battery on the down tube here, and then I purchased an extra battery here, which I showed you here. I purchased an extra battery for the bike. And it's got a 750 watt hub motor down here. Very quiet motor. And come with this basket, which was really nice. It's got Tektro hydraulic brakes. Actually, I changed this to hydraulic brakes. It only had mechanical brakes on it when I got it. So I swapped them out and put hydraulics on it. And I bought a bike rack for this, of course, which you can see, and the bike bag and the panniers. Those are all aftermarket stuff I purchased. I purchased this bar end mirror here and these handlebar extenders, and I'll put all this down in the description box. I bought this for the bike, and this thing here is called an egg rider. It replaced this. This would only get me about 20 mile an hour. This would get me to about 23 to 25 mile an hour. All I did is unplugged one wire and plugged it into the other one, and it took over. Basically took over the controller, which your controller sits right down here, and it helped the bike go faster than what it was. I purchased an aftermarket Bluetooth speaker if I want to listen to music or podcast, and of course the phone holder, which is really nice. Let me go and stop this thing and finish it. I'm used to doing this at home, where now I've got to drive home. So I also purchased a aftermarket alarm. It was down here, but I got the alarm now that I keep in the bike bag here. So I did purchase this separately. So if I'm gonna stop at the restroom, whatever, I can set the bike alarm, and if you just move this bike, it's going to go off. So I'll be doing that here. They got a little porta potty I'll be using, then I'll be using the remote here so I can set the alarm on the bike. But other than that, I purchased an extra cup holder. I'm a huge coffee drinker, as you know. And it's a 26-inch regular style bike with the top bar. I got to bend the bike over a little bit to get on it, but since I put on these handlebar extenders, it's made it a lot easier to bend the bike over. So that's really been helpful. But anyway, Let me get this camera off here so we can close up the video here. But anyway, if you guys have got any comments, put them down in the comment section. Any questions, put them down in the comment section. I hope you've enjoyed this ride. It's been different for me too, since we went a different direction. So anyway, like and share the video and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next video.